himself. Remember that tweet that was super aggressive against Zelensky? Then he backed off from it. I think he almost wanted this to happen.
Let's be honest. When people hear Ukraine and crypto, most still think of donations during the war or headlines about sanctions. But quietly, beneath the noise and tragedy, something far bigger has been building. Because while most countries are still debating how to use blockchain, Ukraine already made its choice. And it didn't go with Ethereum. It didn't go with Ripple. It went with Stellar XLM. Now, before you scroll past thinking this is just another crypto partnership, it's not. This is about an entire nation rebuilding its financial future using blockchain infrastructure that's built for speed, transparency, and global reach. Back in 2021, long before the world started paying attention, Ukraine's Ministry of Digital Transformation signed an agreement with the Stellar Development Foundation, SDF. Their goal? To develop Ukraine's central bank digital currency, the e-hryvnia, on Stellar's blockchain. And that move changed everything. See, Stellar isn't just another blockchain chasing hype coins or NFT trends. It was built from the ground up to connect currencies, people, and financial systems seamlessly. Its mission has always been about financial access, getting money to where it's needed most, fast and cheap. Now think about Ukraine's reality. A nation rebuilding its economy after devastating war. A people displaced, spread across borders, trying to send and receive funds. Sometimes without banks, without stable infrastructure, without access to cash. You start to see why they picked Stellar. Because while other blockchains were busy promising the future, Stellar was already delivering it. MoneyGram integrated it for instant remittances. Circle brought USDC onto Stellar for stable digital transactions. And now, a sovereign nation is using it to rebuild its monetary system. That's not just a crypto milestone. That's a civilization-level test run for how blockchain can power real economies. Here's what most people miss. This partnership isn't just about digital money. It's about infrastructure. Stellar provides the rails for Ukraine's CBDC, yes, but also for tokenized assets, remittance systems, and government-to-citizen payments. Imagine refugees receiving aid directly in digital hryvnia, instantly, securely, and traceable through Stellar's ledger. Imagine businesses transacting cross-border without middlemen. No swift delays, no inflated fees. That's what Stellar enables. And here's the kicker. The National Bank of Ukraine already ran pilot tests using Stellar's network architecture. They explored programmable payments, KYC compliance, and interoperability, all the things global regulators demand before full rollout. So when people say CBDCs are coming, in Ukraine's case, they're already here and they're running on Stellar. Let's put this in context for you as an investor or crypto watcher. While everyone's chasing the next meme coin or AI token, one of the world's most talked about nations is literally building its currency on Stellar. That's not just bullish, that's transformational. Because when Ukraine proves that a national currency can run efficiently on Stellar, fast, cheap, and compliant, what do you think happens next? Other nations start paying attention. Other banks start testing. And suddenly, the same blockchain that powers remittances today could be powering entire economies tomorrow. And this right here, this is the real reason behind Ukraine's move. Not hype, not speculation, but strategic infrastructure. A future where every citizen can hold, send, and receive digital value through a transparent, government-backed blockchain. The world won't say it out loud yet, but this is one of the first steps toward the global integration of blockchain finance, and Stellar is leading that quiet revolution. So when people ask, why XLM? The answer isn't just technical. It's human. It's about access, stability, and inclusion in a time when the world's financial systems are breaking apart and rebuilding at the same time. Ukraine didn't just choose XLM to go digital. It chose Stellar because it needed a bridge, one that connects the old world of finance with the new one we're entering. And that bridge might just reshape everything. Now that we've uncovered why Ukraine chose Stellar, let's talk about how they're actually doing it. Because this isn't just a white paper idea or a government press release. This is a real-world transformation unfolding step by step. And it's easy to miss because, well, this revolution isn't happening in the spotlight. It's happening in the code, in policy documents, and in humanitarian programs powered by the Stellar Development Foundation, the SDF. Let's unpack that. When Ukraine's Ministry of Digital Transformation signed that deal with SDF, they didn't just say, "We want to create a digital hryvnia." They said, "We want to build a new digital financial system from the ground up, one that fits the modern world." That meant three things. Keycap 1, a central bank digital currency, CBDC, that's fast, programmable, and compliant. Keycap 2, a remittance and aid infrastructure for citizens inside and outside the country. Keycap 3, a tokenized economy where assets, from bonds to land titles, can be represented on-chain. And guess what blockchain they chose to pilot all three? Yep, Stellar. Let's start with the CBDC, the hryvnia. In early 2022, the National Bank of Ukraine announced its CBDC prototype built on Stellar's technology stack. It wasn't a simple test token. It was a functional pilot designed to explore how salaries, taxes, and social payments could be handled digitally. Now, here's where Stellar's design stands out. Unlike Ethereum, which struggles with congestion and gas fees, Stellar can process thousands of transactions per second, near instantly at fractions of a cent. That's exactly what a national currency needs. You can't have citizens waiting minutes or paying $5 to send $1. The eHryvnia project is exploring programmable money, meaning transactions can trigger automatically under certain conditions, like releasing relief funds when verified conditions are met. Think of it as smart aid, not just smart contracts. But Stellar's role in Ukraine goes far beyond CBDCs. In partnership with MoneyGram and Circle, USDC, Stellar built a bridge for digital remittances that became a lifeline during the war. Ukrainians displaced abroad could receive money in USDC through the Stellar network and cash it out locally in fiat currency through MoneyGram's global branches. That's blockchain utility without needing an exchange, without volatility, without confusion. In other words, Stellar didn't just build a token. It built a humanitarian payment system that worked when traditional banks failed. That real-world resilience is what made Ukrainian regulators trust Stellar even more. When the world watched its banking networks shut down, Stellar stayed online 24/7. No politics, no intermediaries, just value moving across borders. Now, let's talk about the bigger vision: tokenization. Ukraine has been actively exploring how to use blockchain for land registry, identity systems, and even bond issuance. And Stellar's architecture is perfect for that, because it's not just about sending money, it's about representing any asset on a decentralized, auditable ledger. That's why the same foundation building the eHryvnia is also advising Ukraine's ministries on tokenizing state assets and integrating Stellar-based infrastructure into their rebuilding plans. You see where this is going, right? This isn't about one coin going up. It's about Stellar quietly becoming the digital backbone of a nation's financial recovery and a model for others to follow. Now here's something most people overlook. Stellar's role isn't limited to technology. It's also policy and compliance. The SDF team, led by Danelle Dixon, has been working closely with regulators, not just in Ukraine, but globally, to ensure Stellar's infrastructure aligns with ISO 20022 standards and central bank frameworks. That's the same global financial messaging standard that Ripple, Swift, and major banks are migrating toward. In simple terms, it means Stellar's network speaks the same language as the world's banking systems. So when Ukraine rolls out its eHryvnia, it's not some isolated digital token. It's a bridge currency that can communicate seamlessly with global institutions, banks, and cross-border networks. That's a massive advantage. Now imagine this. You're a Ukrainian business exporting goods to Europe. Your payment gets settled instantly in digital hryvnia. No swift delays, no conversion chaos, no middlemen taking a cut. All powered by Stellar. Or imagine a farmer in Ukraine receiving reconstruction grants from an EU aid program, instantly credited to a Stellar wallet, verified on-chain, and usable immediately. That's blockchain for recovery, not just for speculation. And here's where it gets even deeper. This isn't just about one country. If Ukraine successfully proves that a CBDC plus tokenized aid plus remittance system can run smoothly on Stellar, guess who's next? Countries in Africa, South America, and Asia that are watching closely. They've seen the IMF, the BIS, and the World Bank all pushing for digital currency frameworks. But they've also seen what Ukraine is doing, and it's real, it's working, and it's powered by Stellar. The truth is, most people still see XLM as just another crypto. They don't realize it's quietly being woven into national infrastructure, the kind of thing that doesn't make flashy headlines but changes everything over time. Because the Stellar blockchain isn't trying to be a speculative asset. It's becoming the invisible engine behind financial systems, the pipes that keep value flowing when everything else breaks. And that's exactly what Ukraine needed. Something reliable, inclusive, and globally connected. So when you step back and look at the big picture, Ukraine's partnership with Stellar isn't a one-time experiment. It's the foundation of a new kind of financial future, one that blurs the line between crypto and traditional finance. And by 2026, when the e-hryvnia is fully integrated and operational, XLM won't just be a coin you trade. It'll be a network that entire economies depend on. That's the power of Stellar's quiet evolution. And Ukraine is just the beginning. When Ukraine decided to build its digital currency on Stellar, it didn't just set a national precedent. It sent a signal that echoed far beyond its borders. Because here's the truth. What happens in Ukraine rarely stays in Ukraine. This country has now become a live case study for the entire global banking community. The IMF is watching. The Bank for International Settlements is watching. Even central banks in Africa and Latin America are quietly studying how a nation in crisis rebuilt its economy using blockchain rails, powered by XLM. And that's what makes this story so important. You see, the e-hryvnia isn't just about speed or digital wallets. It's about interoperability, that big word that really means everyone can finally talk to each other. Stellar was designed to connect the fragmented financial systems that have divided the world for decades. It speaks the same language as ISO 20022, the global messaging standard being adopted by banks, SWIFT, and payment giants. So when Ukraine's CBDC goes live, it won't be trapped inside its own digital box. It'll be able to move across borders, interact with stablecoins, and integrate with other digital currencies. That's not science fiction, that's policy-level alignment happening right now. And here's the wild part. Other nations are lining up. Kazakhstan, Brazil, Nigeria, all running or planning digital currency pilots. Many of them are looking at Stellar's architecture as a lightweight, secure, and regulation-friendly foundation. Ukraine just proved that blockchain adoption doesn't have to be a gamble. It can be a government-backed, fully compliant transformation. Now imagine the domino effect. One successful pilot turns into 10, 10 turn into 50, and before long, global remittance, aid, and commerce are all running through networks like Stellar, fast, cheap, transparent. That's why Ukraine's decision is bigger than any short-term market move. It's the blueprint for the next era of digital finance, a world where money is programmable, auditable, and borderless. A world where blockchain isn't just an investment vehicle, it's the infrastructure. So the next time someone says XLM is just a payments coin, remind them of this. It's quietly helping rebuild a nation. And in doing so, it's shaping the architecture for the digital world we'll all be living in by 2026. Because the real revolution never starts with noise. It starts with a single, quiet decision like Ukraine choosing Stellar. Here's the truth most people will miss. By the time the world wakes up to what Ukraine and Stellar just built, it'll already be too late to call it the future. Because it's happening right now. While crypto investors are chasing hype cycles, Ukraine is showing the world that blockchain's real power isn't in price charts. It's in people's lives. In the mother who can receive relief funds instantly through a Stellar wallet. In the business owner who can trade without banks. In the government that can rebuild trust one transaction at a time. That's the quiet beauty of Stellar. It was never meant to dominate headlines. It was meant to connect the disconnected, to rebuild broken systems, to make value move as easily as information. And Ukraine, a nation literally rebuilding from the ground up, is the perfect example of what's possible when blockchain meets purpose. By 2026, we won't be asking if Stellar succeeded. We'll be realizing that it's already woven into the fabric of modern finance. Because when a nation builds its currency, remittance system, and aid programs on the same decentralized rails, that's not just adoption. That's integration. That's the blueprint for the next era of money. And maybe, just maybe, this is how it all starts. Not with hype, not with a bull run, but with one country proving that trust can be rebuilt through transparency, that inclusion can be coded, and that blockchain can serve people, not just traders. So, if you're watching this, I'll leave you with one question. When the world finally connects through blockchain, when nations, banks, and people all move value seamlessly, will you be standing on the sidelines, or will you already be holding the technology that made it possible? Because Stellar's moment isn't coming. It's already here, and Ukraine just confirmed it. If this breakdown opened your eyes to what's really happening behind the scenes, take a second to hit that like button, not for the algorithm, but to tell YouTube that this kind of truth matters. Drop a comment below and tell me what you think. Will more countries follow Ukraine's path and build on Stellar? And of course, subscribe, because in the next video, we're uncovering how Stellar's partnerships with global institutions are setting up the next big wave of blockchain adoption. Until then, stay curious, stay early, and remember, the quietest technologies often create the loudest revolutions.